What is up, fellow summoners? Welcome to the channel. Today it is Monday. Yes, it is a Monday. I typically put these out on Friday, but if you are a fan of the series, if you listen to these, you'll know that the last 2 weeks have been devoid of any bottom line podcast. So my apologies. 2 weeks ago, I was very sick. I was losing my voice, so I didn't want to. I didn't want to torture you guys with my raspy voice for a 30-minute podcast session. And then this past Friday, it was my birthday over the weekend, and I was doing a special, not a special, but I was doing a live stream on Friday afternoon, trying to put out content that morning before I went live. And so I didn't have time to put this together, because even though it is easy as far as editing goes, it still takes every bit of about, I would say, 30 minutes or more for the video to render in my software before I can even try to upload it on YouTube. So it actually does take quite a bit of time to put these things together. One, to record it, to edit it quickly, and then to wait for it to render, then upload it. It probably takes, somewhere in the ballpark, an hour and a half, 2 hours or more by the time I start to record it and finally get it up on the podcast, or finally get it up on the channel, I should say. So I'm sorry, I didn't get it up. I've been missing it the last 2 weeks, so here I am today. I'll do my very best. If I skip it in the future on a Friday, I'll try to come back around like I'm doing now and just do it on Monday, not worry about waiting until next Friday. We'll just put one out just as soon as I can get them on the channel. So the thought behind this one is we've got the Thor Arena. Right now it's going to drop in 5 minutes, but hopefully if you are spending some time going after Thor, whatever iteration of him that might be, 3 or 4 star, hopefully I can provide a little bit of background noise for you to listen to while you're grinding or while you're at work here on Mondays. Mondays suck, so maybe I'll provide a little background noise for you while you're working at the office. Either way, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. The first thing is not necessarily something that is happening in the game, but is something that is very important to me personally. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know what that is already. But yesterday afternoon, I think sometime around, it was like 3 o'clock, maybe 3:30 Central Time, I logged onto my YouTube channel because I knew I was getting close to 10,000 subs. I wasn't sure where I was at. So I logged in, and I was right on the nose. I'm glad I caught it when I did. I was right at 10,000 subs because within like 5 minutes of that, it went to 10,003, and then within like 5 minutes of that, it dropped back down to 9,999. I think people were trolling me, but either way, for myself personally, is a huge milestone. I know 10,000 subscribers, for a lot of YouTubers is a very small to drop in the bucket, but it amazes me when I stop and I think that there are 10,000 people who have subscribed to my channel because they enjoyed my content. Is a very humbling thought, which I realize, not everybody watches, every video you put out. It's somewhere, for me personally, between like 15 and 20% of my audience will watch my videos, which I think that's fairly normal. But it just, even then, even 1,000 views on a video, like, I think you get kind of numb to it. Once you hit that consistently, it's just like, oh, I only got 1,000 views. But for me personally, when I started this, I started it in February. Well, technically, I posted a video the very last day of January was my first video. So technically, it was January, but it was really February is when I started the channel. And at that time, the purpose of it, believe this or not, but we had just, and if you've been on my channel for a while, you know this story already. But it's my podcast. I can talk about what I want. I'm sure there's a lot of you that probably haven't heard this story, but it was right around that time that me and my wife found out that we were expecting our second child in September, and she was going to be kind of stepping away from work for many months, not working, and then when she went back to work, she was only going to be working for like 2 days a week. So I was trying to figure out a way, how can I, because I already have a full-time job, I run a business, I'm sure many of you are aware of that, what can I do, and that takes up, pretty much all of my working hours during the day. I'm doing that business. That always takes priority. So what is it that I could find to do? Maybe something I was already doing to make money off of it, or what could I tie into my business where I'm already at? And at that time, I had been playing MCOC for about, I've been playing it since launch in December 2014. So that is a little over 2 years and a month, something like that. I'd been playing the game. So I was very familiar with the game. I had been following channels on YouTube for a while and really enjoyed that content, really enjoyed the community as a whole. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna gamble a little bit because I have zero video editing skills. I've never edited a video together. I've never produced. I use the word produced to, like, with air quotes here, but I've never edited anything together. I've never uploaded anything on YouTube. I have, you know, very limited amount of resources to get this thing up and going. And so I gambled a little bit on myself, and honestly, I cannot even have imagined, you know, what is this? That was February, this is November, so 9 months down the road that we would be anywhere near 10,000 subscribers. My greatest aspiration for my first year, honestly, was like, you know, if I could hit, you know, like if I could hit 1,000 subs, if I could do like 2,500 subs in a year, like that would be mind blowing. That would be amazing. And to have the channel where it's at now from where I started it's just mind blowing. The other thing that's so amazing is, like, honestly, like I just mentioned, I don't do this full time. At best, I get, you know, one video out on the channel, and then I try to live stream, you know, 3, 4, or 5 times during the weekday. But typically the weekends, I'm away from the office, I'm with my family, I'm doing other things. I don't post stuff on the weekends. So it's a very limited amount of time that I actually have, you know, to produce content and to get it out on the channel. And that fact alone, I keep using the word mind blowing, but it's amazing. It really is. It's not that I don't put in a lot of effort, but the fact that, like, I don't have internet at my house. Everything I do, I have to do at my office. You know, I don't throw videos together quickly, but I put videos together. You know, I try to do it relatively quickly while I'm also answering phones and doing invoices and sales calls, and I try to wrap all those things together. You know, I go home at the end of the day, spend some time with my family, then I come back to the office and I live stream at night. And it's a lot of work on myself, and I don't know, it's just amazing to see the results of it this quickly. I just could have never imagined that it would be, you know, at 10,000. And like I said, people that are doing this at a more full-time rate, you know, they've got much larger audiences, and they should. Like, they do great content and they put out content all the time. That's the way you got to do it. But for me, you know, I was always just trying to do this on the side, and like I said, it was a little bit of a gamble, not knowing where this was all going to go or lead to, but it is just far surpassed any of my expectations. And honestly, it's just thank you to you, to the people that are listening, to the people that are subscribed, to the people that were subscribed, that unsubscribed, to the sponsors of the channel, to anyone who has ever donated on the channel. Like, you don't even realize the effect that has, because it is directly, like we always say, like, thanks for the support for the channel, like, but it's more than a channel. Like, it's my family. It supports me and my wife and my 2 children. You know, it keeps my wife from having to go back to work, being able to spend some time with our newborn and with our son, and it keeps her from having to go back full time. So it's just, I cannot thank the subscribers and the people of the community enough for everything that they have done to make the channel, because honestly, you are what makes the channel go. If people didn't watch it, if people didn't enjoy it, you know, there would be really no reason to produce it. So ultimately, it all comes down to the subscribers and the community, and to each and every one of you individually who are listening to this. I want to say my deepest just thanks for all the support. You know, I don't know where the channel is going to be in another year from now. I do have some plans. I'm making some plans, assuming that the channel will continue to grow. But honestly, I just take it one day at a time. That's what I've always done. I don't think people honestly believe me when I say I produce my content, like, literally one day at a time. Like, when I come into the office, I might from time to time, like, I'll have a couple of video ideas that, like, I've got rolling around. But I kid you not, a lot of times, like, I come to the office and I have meetings and stuff scheduled, and MCOC is not, like, the first thing I'm thinking about. And so I get a couple minutes to start editing something, and I'm like, okay, what are we going to do today? it really, like, I'm kind of embarrassed to say that, but I don't have, like, video content, like, scheduled out in the future. Like, it's all that day. Whatever video you saw, that idea probably came up that same day, and it was shot and it was edited that same day, because that's kind of where I'm at life. Not saying that that's where I want it to be always. Like, I would love to move this into a bigger part of my life where I can spend more time doing it, because I think I do have a lot of ideas, even more than I brought to the channel, but I'm so constrained by my time limits, which I'm not complaining about. It is what it is. It's life. But I'm constrained with the time that I can put into MCOC, and a large part of that is due to the fact that we do not have real internet where I live. And that may be mind-blowing to some of you, but we moved just a little bit outside of the city, the major city where I live. Not really that far. I mean, you can basically like see the city, like if you cut down some trees, but yeah, we just, because of where we're at, the normal internet providers, they do not come out where we're at. The only thing that we can get is like we have a little hotspot. It's unlimited, but it is not anywhere near quick enough to be able to do live streams. Even video uploading to YouTube, if I'm going to produce a video and upload it on YouTube, I have to get it up before I go to bed, because even like a 10-minute video is going to take at least 6 hours, if not more, to upload to YouTube through our hotspot, which sounds crazy. And our like I'm living in a cave somewhere, but it's really not. We love the house. We probably would have never moved there if we didn't know there was going to be no internet, but we do like the house. But having said all of that, that kind of leads me into this next discussion. And I apologize. I've been going on for like 11 minutes here, having nothing to do with the real game. But like I said, it's a big deal in my life right now, so I want to discuss it. I have been well, I shouldn't say I've been talking. I've had one conversation with my real estate agent, letting her know, which she's a good friend of the family, letting her know like, hey, there is a very good chance that come 2018, me and my wife could possibly be looking to move, sell the house and move, with the idea of moving to a place that it's going to have real internet. And if that in fact happens, you will see a lot more of me on the channel, which may be good for some of you. Some of you may hate that, but that is where we are going. I've always been a little bit hesitant to say that, just because I didn't want to kind of preemptively say that and then the channel fall apart. But every time that I put in the effort and I get content on the channel, people are watching it, people are viewing it, and people are supporting the channel in just mind-blowing ways. Again, there's that word. I got that word from my wife. My wife always says mind-blowing. I never used to say that until I got married, and now I say it all the time, so shout out to my wife. But anyway, not that is an official statement that we're moving tomorrow, but I guess it is an official statement in the capacity that yes, we are looking, I think, to move, unless things change in a dramatic way. Sometime here, hopefully in early 2018, we will be looking to move. And that process, if you've ever gone through any of that, selling a home, buying a home, you know, that could be a really smooth process, and you could sell and move out quickly, or that could take several months. So I don't want to put a strict timeline on anything and say, hey, look for real internet and me, you know, coming March 2018, because I just don't know. But just be aware that due to the success and the continued growth of the channel, it kind of looks like we are moving that way. And if that happens, like I said, I will be doing more live streaming, more consistent live streaming. We'll have a set time because I won't have to come back to the office, which is a huge pain like I'm doing right now. We'll have more games that we can play, because that's the big thing. Like Fortnite and Star Wars Battlefront, who I'm gonna buy here soon. Like, I can't play those at home. Like I can't upload footage of that at home because I don't have internet to support it. So the only time I have to play it is either during a live stream, which most of my audience is here for MCOC, so I can't devote a whole lot of time to that. But I would like to play those games, but I'm at work, so yeah, you see the issue there. But anyway, I can just wrap up this first 15 minutes just by saying thank you. First 10,000 subs was just awesome, unbelievable, amazing. You guys rock. Thank you so much. Here's to the next 10,000, and I'm very much looking forward to what the last part of 2017, because we still have like a month and a half left of the year, but really looking forward to what's going to happen on the channel in 2018. So stay tuned. Okay, so now that I rambled on enough about that, so let's get into the game. Well, actually, I lied. We went to see the Thor movie, Thor Ragnarok, over the weekend for my birthday, which I gotta say, I had high expectations and it met all of them. I think Thor Ragnarok, probably like many of you, is my new favorite Marvel movie. A lot of people said it was too comedic, but that's what makes Marvel movies so much fun. Like, they can take themselves seriously, but also make you laugh at the exact same time. I don't know. It's just a really cool combination. I love the direction that they're going in. Ever since the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, there's been a very different kind of take on Marvel movies in general. The feel of it, the sounds, the music, the coloring, all of it, I really, really enjoy. But that leads me back to MCOC because we've got obviously Thor Ragnarok in the game and Hela. And oh my god, Hela was a really cool villain. I almost wish that she looked like she was going to be better in MCOC. If she looked like she was going to be better, I would probably go after her. I thought she was that cool. I'd put up 20 million points to grab her. Unfortunately, both Thor Ragnarok in the game and Hela, while they look cool, I don't think have got a real good spot in the game. So, congratulations to all of you that grabbed them in the featured arena, been pulling them in crystals. I think they look really cool. I think they're fun to play. But I think for myself, unless something changes, I'm probably going to sit out the second round of these arenas, second round of the Thor arena and the Hela arena as well. It looks like the first round cutoff for Thor. If you're not aware, I had a couple people post pictures on my Discord server. I think people were right around 784-ish were the pictures that were posted, and that was like right at 16.6. So I haven't seen the official cutoff yet on Twitter. It might be up by the time you're listening to this, but I think it's probably somewhere between like 16, 8, and 17. Somewhere right around there is probably what the cutoff was for Thor. So if you're going to go after him again in the second round, I think honestly his cutoff may come down a little bit. But if you are going to go after him, I would not put up anything less than 17. If you're going to go to 14, 15 and take a gamble to get him, I would just not gamble. I would go ahead and put in 2 million more. Just get right up to 17 and make sure that you get the character. All right, for the last few minutes of this podcast, I'm going to be talking / ranting about Alliance War, so if you don't want to hear that, you can click away. But for the rest of you, this is a topic that I've been talking about for a long time. It seems to be somewhat of a divisive topic, which is cool. I love talking about that kind of stuff. But Alliance War, there were some changes again that were announced. I believe it was this past week. I haven't had a chance to really discuss those in a video. Haven't really talked about them, like on a live stream with anybody. But we just ran through an Alliance War yesterday, and so I've got a pretty good feel for the stuff that was changed on my path. The thing that I just cannot get my head wrapped around is we have essentially gone in a huge circle to end up with a version of Alliance War that is essentially the same thing, watered down a tiny bit without defender kills. Which is kind of a sad thing to say. You would think with all these changes, with all the feedback, with all the announcements, with all the testing, that, several months now down the road, we would have a version of Alliance War that was at least equal to and preferably better than what we had. If you really stop and think about what we had, okay, so let's picture Alliance War pre 15.0 at the top of the hill. Like, that was the best it could be. That's what we know. That was pre 15.0. We had defender kills and we had Mystic Wars. Basically, because of Mystic Dispersion, everyone you were fighting was a Mystic character. So Kabam, dumbed that all down, got rid of defender kills, put in diversity points, which essentially forced everyone to use characters that were never meant to be defensive characters, and then paired that with nodes that were so watered down that you literally could walk through them 100% the map with your eyes closed. Okay, so that we went from Alliance War pre 15.0 at the top of the hill. This new Alliance War that they crapped out is now here at the bottom of the hill. So they realized very quickly that the community, the player base, is not happy with this version. We need competition in the game. This is not fun. It's more of a waste of time than anything. So, okay, we need changes. Yes, we're working on it. They recognize it needs work. They're going to announce it like right away. They start saying that. And so we start inching our way, back up the hill a little bit. With every patch, with every change that's made, they are trying to make it more difficult, but not actually giving us what would make it truly competitive. They're not bringing back defender kills. And the nodes themselves are still fairly watered down. Okay, so we get several announcements worth of that. So then now we're to a place where it's, okay, let's ramp the nodes way back up, basically to where they were before, trying to make it as difficult as possible. So now what alliances have done is, okay, so now that we've got nodes that are difficult, if we pair those nodes up with, you know, defenders that are difficult defenders, aka Mystic Champs, Mordo, Dormammu, Mephisto, Magic, you know who I'm talking about. If we pair these difficult nodes up with difficult Mystic characters, that may influence and keep people from wanting to spend to get through the map 100% like we were doing before. Defender kills doesn't matter. If somebody really wants to dig deep into their unit stash or their wallet, they're going to be able to get through and they will not be penalized with defender kills. But we're going to bank on the fact that people aren't going to want to do that. At least in the, you know, maybe the very top crust of the top tier, people are willing to spend regardless to get through the map 100%. But for most of the average Joes, you're only going to spend to a certain point before you're tapped out. So that's what we're seeing now. The last couple of wars that we've been through, we have been placing our most difficult defenders, and we have been fighting alliances who've been placing their most difficult defenders. So, like I said, we've come in a huge circle. So we had Alliance War with defender kills. Basically, everybody was Mystic. We've had 18 different iterations of Alliance Wars just to get right back to Mystic Wars with no defender kills. Do you see what I'm saying? The part I can't get my head wrapped around is the developers act like this was the Alliance War, the changes and the problems, like they had nothing to do with them. Like, oh my God, Alliance War, yeah, they do need fixed. We're gonna make them better. We're gonna keep making changes. We're gonna make them what you need them to be. But I'm over here scratching my head like, you are the ones who implemented those changes. Like, if I go back and try to remember pre-15.0, yes, there were people that didn't like the Thorns nodes. Yes, there were people who didn't like the slash tire nodes, and I can understand all of that. You know, I'm one who actually preferred it because it made getting certain characters like a priority. It made incentive for me to get characters like Yondu, who was great against Thorn nodes. You know, it gave incentive for me to play the game and to put up large amount of points and resources to get those characters. But for a lot of people, I get it. They didn't like those nodes. But the bigger issue that I think everyone had with pre-15.0 Alliance War is not that it was a bad mode. It was just getting long in the tooth. It was getting stale because we were running the same map, the same path for months and months and months and months, and we were fighting the same Mystic characters over and over and over again. I mean, it's pretty bad when you go back and watch some of those Alliance War footage videos. It's like, when I would come to a node to be like, okay, this is Doctor Strange or this is Magic. Like, there are no other options. Like, that's who it's going to be. And sure enough, that's who it's going to be. Because you did the same thing so often that it made you a little bit crazy. So people, I think in general, yes, while there may have been some detuning that was needed for Thorns and slash tires, in general, people were happy with the competitive aspect. They just wanted to take that competitive aspect and move it over into either a different map altogether or change the way that we interact as an alliance in Alliance Wars. Change the way that you know, we choose defenders based upon, you know, weekly bonuses that are given, so that you aren't forced necessarily for diversity points, but you can grab them, you know, based upon the bonuses that are given to try to switch up a little bit of who you might find on a given node, so it's not always the same character. Basically, I can only speak for myself. I was looking for some creativity to be brought into Alliance War, and the creativity, taking what we had and continuing to push it forward, is what was going to breathe new life into the game. But where are we now at the game? You know, we've spent the last couple of months just to get right back to where we were. So I don't know. I guess that's the frustrating part for me. Is like, why did we waste so much time when you had customers like that the players are the customer base? Like, we're telling you what our issues are, what we would like to see. And even in some, like, I made a whole video on an idea for changing Alliance Wars. I know a lot of other people have done that stuff, and I'm not saying that our ideas are better than anything that the developers at Kabam have got. I'm not saying that they're, you know, that they're fantastic ideas. I'm just saying there are so many ideas floating around why have we not focused on that? Why have we not focused on being creative and seeing where we could take Alliance War forward instead of how far back can we cut it and not piss people off? Because we're not any further ahead of the game than where we were, you know, pre 15.0. So I don't know. I guess I feel the need to rant about it every I don't know, every few weeks or so, because I wouldn't take it so personally if Alliance War wasn't such. It was fun. Like, that was one of my favorite things to do in the game, was to make Alliance War videos. And when you talked about characters, who to rank up, who to go for, hey, that's a great pull because you can use them on defense, or that's a great pull because you can use them, you know, on unblockable S2 nodes or stun immune nodes. Like, it lost. You just immediately lost that whole section of the game by no one's fault but your own. And we're just like slowly just trying to creep back to where we were. Like I said, we've just gone, we haven't pushed the game forward in any way. We've just kind of gone in this big circle. I don't know. I think I'm done talking about it, at least for now. We'll see what happens. I would love to hear your guys' opinion on this. I always seem to strike a sore spot with some people when I talk about how I'm unhappy with the current iteration of Alliance War. But I will say, if it does continue, and it does look like it will continue, with alliances putting in their best defenders, you know, there will be a competitive aspect that does come back, and, you know, Alliance War footage and recording all that stuff, that will become more fun. There will become defenders, or there will be, excuse me, you know, characters that are good for putting on defense on certain nodes. Same thing on offense, certain characters that are worth getting for certain nodes. So that part of the game is being brought back. It didn't need to go away. I guess that's the point that I'm trying to make. But then that, you know, that leads into a totally different discussion, which people also hate talking about, which is Mystic Dispersion. Do I want to talk about that in this? Oh man. I don't know if I could talk about Mystic Dispersion and Alliance Wars in the same video without having the Earth explode. But yeah, that is definitely something that needs to be looked at. I'm not saying it necessarily needs to go away. I'm just saying, yes, it does. It does need to be looked at, because, again, God, do I want to talk about this? Oh. We're just right back to the same spot, man. The same issues we were dealing with pre 15.0. That we're just right back to them. That. It's just this giant, never-ending circle. It's like Groundhog Day, just reliving the same day over and over and over again. I'll save the Mystic Dispersion for another discussion, because I'm starting to get a headache just talking about this. Well, this podcast had a very interesting tone to it. It went from thank you, you guys are incredible, to a Joel pissed off rant. I'm not really pissed off. I don't know, I guess I'm just trying to state the obvious. Like, am I the only one seeing? Sure, I'm not the only one seeing this, right? It's a big circle. We're going around in circles. I'm done talking about circles. Anyway, if you have suggestions, topics that you'd like to have discussed in these podcasts, I would love to hear them from you. One of the best places that you can do that is either in the comment section below or on my Discord server, which you'll find the link to that in the description of this video. You can join the Discord server, and there is a suggestions and feedback tab. You can go into there, and if you've got, like I said, topics that you want to discuss, would love to hear them from you. In fact, if you got a topic that you feel like you know, you've got a really good point to make or something, you know, let me know. I wouldn't be opposed to having people brought onto the podcast. We can record it, you know, maybe prior to me putting all this together, and then I'll just add it in. That could be a lot of fun. So either way, comment section, Discord server, or you can hit me up on Twitter, got email. It's all there in the description for you. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much. Big milestone, 10,000 subscribers this past weekend. Very excited for what the future holds for the channel. Until I see you all in the next one, have a great day. Peace.